It's time for the Wendy Williams Show. Today, Inside Edition's Deborah Norville, E! News host Terrence Jenkins, and comedian Sara Contreras join Wendy for Hot Talk. Plus, CNN anchor Soledad O'Brien, her take on all the election drama. And did J-Lo give her boyfriend Casper a curfew? We've got the details. Now, here's Wendy.
For showing up. Oh, I'm doing great. And we know that X Factor will be back next year, but the question is, will Britney Spears be returning? Let's talk about it and more. It's time for Hot Topics. First of all, studio audience, I call you my co-host. The tickets are free if you ever want to come by. But we're a smaller group today. Look at them. Gorgeous. And a few empty seats. Because, first it was Hurricane Sandy. Thank you. First it was Hurricane Sandy, and now the nor'easter, the entire Northeast seems like it's covered in snow. Yeah, there was a nor'easter that just came and went. Yesterday, it was the snow wet, sticking. Studio audience is small. People are recovering from Sandy, and now the nor'easter. My commute this morning was pretty quick because there weren't a lot of people on the road. We left an hour and a half early than we usually do. And last night we were going to come to the city and stay in a hotel. I had no idea whether our son was going to have school today or not. But by the time we made the decision to go to the hotel, it was 11:30 at night and room service was closed. I mean, and then, because this show is live out in New York, we have to check out of the hotel at 6 o'clock in the morning. So what's the point in staying in a hotel if you can't get room service? And so I stayed home. But I made arrangements with the snowplow and that whole bit. So shout out to everybody digging out and still drying out. I'm thinking of you. So now, X Factor was on last night. And, many people are wondering if Britney Spears will be returning next season. Well, there are reports that, she was asked, and she said, yes, I definitely will. So she'll be back. No word on whether they're going to pay her that same $15 million paycheck that they gave her for the first season. I mean, I like Britney Spears, but can we talk straight? She hasn't brought the ratings, and that's a fact. She brings very little personality to the judging table. As a watcher, you know what I'm talking about. And if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, we've prepared something for you. Roll it.
I felt like you rocked it out. You completely rocked it out. I love your hairstyle. I love the way you dressed. I love everything about it. It was really amazing. Thank you. You were amazing. You completely surprised me. I was not expecting that, and I felt you a lot. It was amazing. I feel like you're a true star. You have what it takes. I was definitely entertained, and it was amazing.
Thank you.
You impressed me so much. I am so incredibly proud of you, and you're amazing.
You see what I'm saying? They're paying her $15 million for one-word answers. Amazing. And every time she says amazing and compliments somebody, did you notice her body language? She's always nodding no, not yes. Britney, when you pay somebody a compliment, the motion of your head has got to match the compliment. And by the way, that wasn't a waxy buildup in her ear or Cheetos. That's neither nor. The question is Britney wearing an earpiece? So producers can talk to her and feed her lines. Apparently not, because they need to do better than amazing, amazing. The producers say that it's actually earplugs to block the noise. It's very noisy there, which I know you think that's weird. You know, as a rock star, they should be used to noise all the time, but I'm sure that it's extremely noisy there at X Factor, and so she blocks the noise with that. Although she could use an earpiece for the new season so that they can feed her some lines other than the same dry lines. If they're paying you $15 million, if they're paying you $15 million for the next season, no word on whether they're paying her that for this next season, because perhaps they're giving her a pay cut to maybe $5 million, which would be amazing. Because that would mean that her salary would be commensurate with Demi Lovato, who's doing an amazing job on the show. And I like Britney a whole lot, but Britney, I told you, she is, I don't think that she's well. She appears cold, like chilly, right? Scared, and vapid, like there's nothing behind her eyes, do you know? Poor girl. In the meantime, over at The Voice last night, I was so distracted by CeeLo Green. CeeLo. And that's it. I mean, I like The Voice, but I must say that CeeLo's outfits are worth tuning in just to see what CeeLo's wearing. Remember when we did the same thing about Jennifer Lopez when she was on Idol? Or Christina Aguilera? Now it's, look what CeeLo's wearing. A mess. Okay, so do you watch that show Modern Family? I like that show also, I do. It's one of the biggest shows on TV, successful and as all get out. Anyway, one of the young girls on this family drama is having some real life drama, or this family show is having some real life drama in her own personal life. The 14-year-old, her name is Ariel Winter in real life, and on the show she plays Alexis Dunphy. You're familiar with her. Well, get this. She filed court papers with some pretty shocking allegations against her mother. I know, a 14-year-old filing against their mother. Well, according to TMC, this young lady, Ariel, alleges that her mother has subjected her to ongoing physical abuse, slapping, hitting, and pushing, emotional abuse, including calling her vile names, insulting her about her weight, depriving her of food, and more. Now, I know how these kids are today. They are quick to sit back and tell you as the parent that they're gonna call the cops on you. You know how kids are. Isn't it funny, like, growing up in the old school, you would have never, like, called the cops on your parents or even threatened something like that. But anyway, in the case of this 14-year-old, you know, you might say, well, she's crying wolf. She's, you know, an actress trying to, you know, show out on her mother. But Ariel, the young lady in the red, the daughter, 14, has been removed from her mother's home and placed under the guardianship of her 34-year-old sister, Chanel. This is where the story gets real interesting. Nearly 20 years ago, Chanel was removed from the home and placed into foster care with similar abuse allegations against the mother. Now show the mother back on there so you can drink it in, just so that if you see her in the streets, you know what we're dealing with. Mom is denying the claims. Let her deny. Once though, and now twice with your second daughter, but let her deny. She also has letters saying that she's not an abusive person. The letters come from both her doctors and stylists. Would that be the same stylist that lied to you and said, this dress looks great, Mom? I'm just playing. I'm playing about the dress comment, but what I will say on Mom's side is that Mom is clearly a stage mom, and she's clearly good at it. Older sister Chanel is an actress. An older brother, I don't know her older brother's name, but the older brother played Pugsley in the Addams Family movie. So, you know, and the brother is alleged to be on Mom's side. But as a woman, I'll tell you what I think. He's on Mom's side because Mom might have been attractive, smaller, and you know the bloom is off the rose maybe for Mom. Do you understand what I'm saying? Sometimes, do you know mothers like that, when the bloom is off the rose, they start digging into their daughters, you know, in a fit of jealousy? Do you understand what I'm saying? So we're following this case for you. And they're set to go for a hearing on November 20th, so I'll definitely keep you updated with that one. What a sad story, though, right? You want to hear a sadder story? Yeah. Jennifer Lopez is still with that boy. And it's getting worse. She's really treating him like a kid, like one of her own. The Star magazine is reporting that Jen has imposed a 2 a.m. curfew on Casper. By the time I tell you these stories here on Hot Topics, I am emotionally drained from hearing them from my producers while I'm preparing. And plus, you know I read the magazine, so oh my gosh, I'm triple drained. I'm drained with this relationship and I'm drained with this curfew thing. Like, who does that? A 2 a.m. curfew. Even worse, are you ready for the worst part? Yeah. Jen is alleged to have hired a bodyguard to follow him around to make sure the little boy doesn't get into more trouble. Kind of like he did back in July in this shot. Now that is right up the street from the studio, and can I tell you something? The little boy was alleged to tell Jennifer that he was going to get a haircut. However, try as I might, I've never seen a barbershop there. Jennifer, when's it gonna be over, girl? Mark Anthony is probably laughing. In the meantime, he's having a good time. You know, I think he still has the young girlfriend, and he flies under the radar with that. Jennifer and Mark will get back together. Mark my words. One day. One day. They will. They will. So Jermaine Jackson is I know, right? Shiny. Corny. We love you, Jermaine. Jermaine is part of the Jackson dynasty, of course, and he is now wanting to distance himself from the family, question mark, ... with a name change. Oh yeah, you guys had no reaction to that. You're waiting for the other shoe to drop and for me to tell you what the name changes are? Because mind you, this is the same man with 2 children whose names are Your Majesty and Jafar. Okay. He's legally changing his name, so this is not a joke because there's a lot of paperwork you have to file. He's changing the spelling of Jackson. Okay, there it is spelled with the Jackson, and he's changing it to Jacksun. He says it's for artistic reasons, but I have to say, you know what it's probably for? He probably just wants attention. And he got it, because we're sitting here talking about it. He's not trying to distance himself from his family, in my mind. And artistic reasons, we haven't heard artistry from you in a long time, Jermaine. But you got the attention that you want because we're talking about you. I understand what that's like. You guys remember when Ron Artest, he changed his name to Meta World Peace, filed the papers, it's all legal, and in a tidy knot, Meta World Peace. And remember when Prince changed his name legally to that, well, he changed to the symbol. Except we didn't call him the symbol, we would just say Prince. You know? But people do that, they just want attention. Why, I have a story to share with you. So, in an effort to try to be different, I toyed with changing the spelling of my own name back when I was in college and out from under my parents' claws. And I was gonna change it to Juendy, like Juanita Wendy. It would have been different. In like the summer of '75, I spent a whole summer at Camp Sacagawea Girl Scout Camp, sleeping away under the name BJ. At the time, BJ and the Bears was a popular, show, and I thought that girls were so cool with those initial names, like AJ, BJ, RJ, whatever, like cool, tough, and So I told everybody that, yes, I registered as Wendy Barbara Jean Williams, but you call me BJ. All summer long, and I was on it too. People would call me BJ. I'd be like, yes. I would never get confused. Keep those claps going, everybody. A terrific show for you today. CNN's anchor Soledad O'Brien is here. Plus, We've got a hot fashion show with all the trends for curvy women. And up next, everybody, 3 outspoken personalities join me. Deborah Norville, Terrence J, and comedian Sara Contreras for Hot Talk. So we're gonna talk about the hottest topics of the week. Keep it here and hurry back. Thank you. Welcome back, everybody. Another week means another round of juicy hot talk. Joining me are the host of one of my favorite shows on TV, Inside Edition. It's my friend Deborah Norville.
Thank you.
And we've got comedian Sara Contreras. Thank you for being here. And the new co-anchor, I should say, of E! News starting November 12th, our friend Terrence Jenkins. No power for 11 days, she just said.
It's so cold.
Terrence has dropped the J, so it's Terrence Jenkins now.
Grown man.
And Sara is very funny. Let's get started. Okay. President Obama's re-election was the biggest story of the week. But another historic vote also took place on Tuesday night when Colorado and Washington State became the first states to legalize the recreational use of marijuana.
Smokers in the middle.
Deborah, what do you say?
I think it's great. I really do. I think they're going to regulate marijuana the way alcohol is regulated. People are smoking and doing it anyway. In the state of Washington, they figured out you're going to save $500 million by revenues for the taxes that this will generate. And think of what you're not spending in terms of the law enforcement that's frankly being wasted on people who are doing it in their own home, in the privacy of their own home.
Okay, Sara?
Supposedly, there's a surcharge, a 15% surcharge that's supposed to be going to K through 12. So they're taxing it. So I'm all for drug dealers and drug users paying taxes. I don't have a problem with that. But my whole thing is you can't smoke around the kids. You can't smoke.
Yeah.
I was in special ed, Wendy. I mean, I worked in special ed, but. And I'm sorry, the kids would walk in and I smelled it on their shirts. I would just, this is ridiculous. This is really good.
Terrence,
wow.
what do you say?
Wrong. It's outrageous.
I think as long as you use it responsibly, like anything else, you know, we're in a country where you can have weapons, you can smoke cigarettes, you can drink alcohol, but if you do anything irresponsibly, you can, you know, get hurt. Marijuana use, it's non-toxic, and nobody can overdose
Hold on a second.
marijuana.
It is not without risk. If you smoke marijuana, and remember nowadays the THC is a lot stronger than it was,
Hell
way
that's
back
my
when.
point. The legalization of marijuana needs to be a dead subject. It doesn't need to be legalized. Back in my day, in college, and remember seeds and weed, and it'd give you the munchies, and it just made you tired. The weed these days is something special. And when I say special,
But if you regulate it, Wendy, if you've got
Exactly.
light cigarettes and you got the
Deborah,
full-strength cigarettes,
here's the thing.
they're doing it anyway. Why shouldn't we, as taxpayers, get the benefit of the people who are out there smoking anyway?
Because weed is the
we
gateway drug.
got a $16 trillion deficit, and it doesn't have to be a gateway drug.
I'd rather legalize prostitution than
It's not
legalize
the
I am
weed.
gateway
totally
drug.
with you on that.
To me,
Guys,
And I'll
guys.
tell you.
if alcohol is legal and people can drink,
Yeah,
they're not supposed to drink
but
and drive.
Here's the difference. When you get stopped by the cops and you've had your drinks, they give you a breathalyzer test and then you go to jail or whatever. With weed, there is no detection.
There is a test. It's called the Snoop Dogg test.
You're wrong.
If you smell like Snoop
You're
Dogg,
wrong.
we
No.
know that there's some weed
No.
in the
They
vicinity.
roll down the window.
If you smoke your blunt in your house and spray yourself down with Febreze, and then you put a little Visine in your eyes, the only way that anybody knows you've been smoking weed is through the blood test.
Well,
And the weed wasn't like back in the day when we smoked sesamilia and all that other kind of stuff. I mean,
marijuana is not the type of delusional drug that alcohol is. I mean, the worst thing
Depends
that
on your strain.
The worst thing that can happen is if you're smoking and you're in your car, you get to a blinking yellow light and you have what I call a high yield.
But here's the thing.
You're like, oh my God.
It's not just a
do I
recreational
proceed
thing.
with caution?
People who smoke within an hour have a 4 times greater risk of having a heart attack.
all right, do you want that to be your pilot?
Do I want that to be my pilot?
Your airplane pilot?
Absolutely
or
not. And
your
that
doctor?
person
Right, and
shouldn't
that's
be
part of
able
the
to
regulation.
operate
Yeah.
machinery. But if
Exactly.
you're doing it in the privacy of your own home, I don't think the government needs to be in my house monitoring what I do. And if the government can make some
right.
money off
Yeah.
me when I do, then I think that's good for the government.
But I do think that the cops need the prick test then, and then maybe,
I'm
you know,
cool with
it's
that.
testable.
They'll find some
Okay,
way to do it.
let's move along, everybody. Jada Pinkett Smith recently told People Magazine about her parenting philosophy, and you know, we're parents. Are you a parent?
Yes, I have
Okay,
two.
there you go. You're not a parent yet, but I'm sure you put a little bun in your supermodel girlfriend's oven soon. I love you and her together. Okay, look. Jada says, I think that old school style of parenting, you're the parent and I'm greater than you, doesn't work. What I established with my children is a partnership. She goes on to say, I'm not necessarily dictating what is happening in their lives.
Honestly. I'm
She
sorry.
is out of her mind.
She's crazy. You get a vote, you don't get a veto. There's none of this partnership stuff. My
Hell
job is
no.
to keep you alive until you're 21 and keep you from killing yourself before then. And you do what I say, and you're going to make it.
That, yeah.
I'm sorry,
I
am
mean,
I the only one that disagrees? I mean, who are we to tell Jada Pinkett
You don't
Smith
have
how to
kids.
raise her? Listen,
don't have
her
kids.
kids-
I'm not telling
Willow-
Jada Pinkett Smith how to raise her family.
Willow Smith is a very outstanding young lady.
Have you
I've
ever seen some of her tweets?
I've interviewed her several times.
They're very dark.
There's other
are
12
dark.
years old that are picking their boogers right now. She has the #1 record in the country.
But Terrence, see, my thing is a
That's
partnership
nothing
with
about
those
the parenting,
children.
though.
I mean, they're talented and they're creative.
partnership with those children will work because I think they make more money than Jada these days. I'm sorry. She knows. She knows.
But, you know, their children are 14, Jaden, and 12, Willow, the one that Terrence was talking about. And I have to tell you that we did some research, and we found that kids raised by authoritative parents, which doesn't necessarily mean you can't listen to your kids' ideas
That's right.
and then tell them, oh, no. But kids raised by authoritative parents are more likely to become more independent, self-reliant, socially acceptable, academically successful, and behave well.
And that describes every one of my kids, and I think it's because my husband and I are strict parents, and the rules are clearly defined, and behaviors are expected,
Yeah.
and when you don't behave that way, there are consequences. And kids
Absolutely.
grow up well when you do that.
Absolutely.
Deborah, I've seen these children.
Thank you, audience.
I've seen these children. They will walk into someone's house. I'm hungry.
And then call you your first name.
That's not how I was raised. When I was
We're not
little.
talking about Willow and Jaden. These are two very good kids. I've met them. They're great kids.
Okay,
They're
Mr.
outstanding.
E-News.
And no, I'm just saying.
Mr. Politically
Good kids.
correct.
And when you talk about 12 years old sending tweets, you probably sent bad tweets. Sara, I was looking at your Twitter
kidding
timeline.
me?
You
I
probably got
was
some.
12
You
years
got some
old.
dirty tweets.
I don't know.
Woman.
Let's move along to our next topic.
That's my assistant.
There is a new study from Indiana University. It found that 85% of men said that their female partners reached an orgasm the last time they had sex. But only 64% of women said that they actually reached orgasm, which means that there are a lot of women faking it and a lot of men that have no idea. So my question for the panel is, should women tell the truth, or is honesty not the best
I
policy?
want to hear what
My
Terrence
girlfriend's
says.
in the 64th percentile, so y'all have this conversation over here. I don't have.
Okay, here's what I think, Wendy. Guys have an overinflated idea about pretty much everything, including their performance ability in the bedroom.
Yes. Do you think that it hurts their feelings if we're honest?
Faking orgasm to me totally depends on how much money is involved. That's how I look at it. Because I'm looking for a pension, honey. How much did you say is in that 401k? Woo!
Screaming like a porn star. Well, you know, I have to say, personally speaking, I don't have this problem, but you know, I do think that criticizing somebody's sexual performance is probably meaner than just telling them that they do look fat in that dress. I mean, it is very, it's a very mean thing. And if you have to criticize the person, then make sure that you break up with them within the first month of.
That's true.
You know, in the first month of a sexual relationship, you're having sex at least 12 times a month. If he's not hitting on all 10 cylinders each time, girls, then break up before you fall in love.
But here's another thing that's great about that.
12 times?
Hold on a second.
We get-
Here's
Every
another thing that's
time.
great about that
Do you
survey.
every time?
98% of the women, this is important. 98% of the women who had multiple positions, like 5 or more,
Yes.
they all had orgasm.
Yeah.
So variety is the spice, boys.
You do have to mix it up. Well, look, according to a survey at everydayhealth.com, 1 in 4 men admit that they fake it. Terrence,
How?
how do you fake it?
I don't know how to fake it. It comes natural.
I mean, 1 in 4.
I can't stop it. This is more the question.
Is there another place that we don't know about? I don't
One in
know.
4 men. How interesting. I mean, there's no more to say on that.
It goes about the whole thing about men are dogs and sometimes they don't tell the truth. I think those 1 in 4 aren't being honest.
Good one, Deborah. I want to thank my panel for being here today. Thank you so much for the spicy hot talk. For more information about our panelists, go to wendyshow.com. Keep it here. Up next, CNN anchor Soledad O'Brien is here. Our next guest says it like she means it. She's the host of CNN's morning news program called Starting Point. Please welcome Soledad O'Brien. Nice to see you again. Yeah. You give it to him straight on that show. We love that. Love that. Does saying it like you mean it ever come back to bite you?
I get a lot of hostile tweets and some nasty emails and sometimes nasty phone calls, but you know, I believe in the facts. My whole thing is like, I'm here for the facts. It is not personal, I'm not political.
Yes.
What are the facts?
Yes.
And people like to make up facts or they like to act as if somehow they don't have to answer questions, and they do.
Do you feel like sometimes they don't have to answer tough questions from a girl?
I don't know how much of it is a girl thing, as much of it is they like the youth thing. I'm younger than most of those guys who I often argue with.
Yes.
And I think they are sort of offended that I know the facts. That I'll say,
Yes.
well, here's the study, let me read it to you. Or here's the quote that you said 6 months ago, which completely contradicts what you're telling us now.
What did you think about Donald Trump going at Brian Williams? You know, they've got a feud going on.
I thought Brian Williams was exactly right. The things that Donald Trump was tweeting election night into election morning were insane. It's insane.
I don't think that Brian should have fed into it. Donald Trump,
he had to.
I like Donald Trump, but Donald Trump is like a junkyard dog. Do you know? They fight.
But
They
he has,
fight like junkyard dogs.
He has a platform. He
Yes.
has a platform, and he was saying things that weren't true. You know, he was responding to this idea that Mitt Romney would win the popular vote and President Obama would win the electoral college.
So during the election, some of Donald's tweets, not to Brian, but just in general, he's like baiting and waiting for somebody to take a bite. Donald tweeted, "We should march on Washington and stop this travesty." Then he tweeted, votes equals loss, votes equals a loss, revolution, capitalized. Then he says, this election is a total sham. Brian Williams bit back and, then he tweeted Brian Williams once Brian got on the air that night and said, Brian Williams was never a smart guy, but always passes off as one. Then he goes, Brian Williams knows that I think his newscast has become totally boring, so he took a shot at me last night. Then he tweets Brian Williams, Brian, thanks, dummy. So
I actually think Brian Williams has an obligation
to tweet back,
to answer
to
it.
Answer?
You know, he has a platform.
Yeah.
Donald Trump has a platform.
Yeah.
You know, when he did this whole birther thing, it was not true. It has already been disproven. People cannot just make up facts when people go out and we disprove some of these things. So I think you do have to say certain things are not true. I thought Brian Williams did a great job. He has an obligation to say, you're wrong. This is not. Donald Trump calling for revolution among America. I mean, like we're in this parallel universe. It's bizarre.
Were you?
He's insane.
You covered the election for CNN. Were you surprised at President Obama's sweep?
I was not surprised by the sweep. I think that the Obama campaign had a very good ground game. I wasn't sure if the polling that we were seeing would be consistent, and it was. I mean, Nate Silver of the New York Times predicted this pretty much to a
T. The Latino vote definitely helped out.
We've seen it grow. The Latino
Yes.
vote in 04 was 8%, 9%, in 08, 10% now.
Yes.
I mean, we all know Latinos, fastest growing demographic in the nation.
Now, they say 55% of women were for Obama and 44% of women were for Romney.
Right.
So it was also a woman
Higher
thing.
unmarried women was something like 64% unmarried women. So
Oh.
even more of a gap. So the question became, and we talked a lot about this on my show, I believe there's this dog whistle, which is what people vote on. You know, the thing that you're hearing. So regardless of what your position is politically on abortion, if you're a woman, you're saying, how do I feel about the fact that Todd Aiken is saying this? How do I feel about the party of Todd Aiken? I think that they genuinely had a lot of, backlash on that.
I'm sure I'm not the only New Jersey resident, particularly, who I look at our king, Governor Christie, totally different since Hurricane Sandy. He has come in. regardless of what your political beliefs are, he has come in and he makes me, as a Jersey resident, feel better that it's going to be okay regarding this Hurricane Sandy. And they were saying that he could possibly be the candidate for the Republicans in 2016.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem on the left and on the right. It's hard to make it through the primary and be bipartisan. It's hard to be a middle, and what Americans cheer, Americans cheer that, right? We want people who can work together.
He
we
had
want
to
our
work with the
Congress
president.
people, of course. But it will be a problem to get through a primary because even today, some people are calling him a traitor.
They're already turning on him.
So,
but you know, that is such an old, antiquated thing for the Republican Party to think. I mean, part of the problem with the Republican Party that a lot of people feel is that you're old curmudgeons, and you can't get up off your high horse to work with other people. The man has to work with our president. Our state is a mess.
So I think that's going to be the challenge. Can you make it through a primary? Can you take positions that are to the right so that you can win in a primary and then kind of move back to the center in a general election at a time when everybody has access to everything you've said before?
Yes.
And they can run it at any time. I mean, the bulk of my show is saying, sir, let's play what you said.
Yes.
Sir, let's read this transcript.
Yes.
You know, that's what we do.
So, okay, off that and on to your personal life. How are your children? She's got 4 kids.
I do. They're great. They're great. Thank you for asking.
And
they're great.
And where's your husband? We had a picture of you and your husband as well. Now, Soledad, everybody, went to Harvard, and so did all of her siblings.
Yeah.
Will you be having the same thing for your children?
I'm not sure we can afford it. You know, my parents, what they did really well with me and my brothers and sisters, and there were 6 of us, is that they said, go wherever you want. You know, work to your potential, do as best that you can possibly do.
Did your parents go to Harvard, either one of them?
My parents were both foreigners. My dad was born in Australia. My mother's Cuban.
Yes.
And so they both went to school. My mother eventually came to the United States and went to school in the United States, so they didn't. But they also just didn't have a sense that somehow you're better because you get into Harvard. It was go where you want to go. And if it's Harvard, well, here's what they require. You know, here's what you're going to have to do to get in. And I love that. I didn't feel any pressure to go to a good school.
Yes. Well, she's living the American dream, and we love Soledad O'Brien. Thank you so much for being here, Soledad.
Thank you for having me.
Everybody, her morning show is called Starting Point, and it airs daily on CNN. Up next, everybody, we'll show you the hottest fashion trends for curvy women. Keep it here. Welcome back. It's no secret the average American woman is a curvy size 14, but we often have trouble finding stylish, flattering clothing for our bodies. And here today to show us how to embrace our curves while still rocking the latest trends is author of Never Pay Retail Again, fashion expert Daisy Llewellyn. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're here. So let's start with what some fashion trends are that curvy women should stay away from.
You know what? I feel like stay away from something that's going to be way, way, way too baggy or way, way too tight, making you look like a sausage.
Gotcha.
Do you know what I mean? Because you can't really accentuate your curves if you can't see them, but if you're squeezing too tight, it doesn't look good.
And too baggy makes you look even bigger.
Even bigger. And like this wrap dress, Wendy.
This is good for curvy women.
The key piece.
Yeah, it is. Okay. Okay, so let's get started with our fashion show. Our first model's name is Kim, and she's a professional soccer player. She loves to surf on her off time.
So Kim is wearing a dress with what I call a BIB, a built-in belt, which narrows the waistline.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a built-in belt, and I love this dress because it really makes you look little in the middle.
Yes.
The A-line is really great for anyone who's thigh shy. You know, you maybe have fuller thighs because you can't see what her legs look like.
Yes, yes.
And the structured fabric makes you look toned and fit.
What do you mean structured?
It's structured meaning it doesn't move.
Okay.
It's structured. So she moves, goes to the party, she eats 5, pigs in the blanket, she ain't going nowhere.
Oh, and I love the zipper detail on the back.
Absolutely.
It's a nice, very, very edgy.
Exposed zippers are really big this season.
They are really big.
And Wendy, get it. These shoes are definitely cheap and cheerful. They're $39.95 from JustFab.com.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You look cute, Kim. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next curvy girl is Danielle, and she's an online style editor who travels around the world. And here's our girl.
Isn't she amazing? Now, Wendy,
Wow.
I think it's great to opt for a leather legging instead of pants if you want to look toned. She's got the $1 million booty. Can we see see how these pants are really...
And you've got really good thighs. Like, you've got good legs. Okay, why should we curvy girls buy leather leggings instead of leather pants?
Now, the thing is, the leather leggings, they go on like the regular stretch leggings, but they fit you like your favorite jeans.
Yes.
So you get 2 for 1, Wendy. And we gave her this Superstar faux fur vest, Wendy. It's from TJ Maxx, and it's $39.99.
The key is you're pulling it together in the waist, too. You need a little waist action when you're a curvy girl.
Exactly. And because it's getting colder, we want to layer, but layer with thin pieces so you don't add bulk.
Perfect.
Wow.
Thank you, Danielle. Okay, our next model is Julia, and she's a fashionista who loves vintage clothing. Oh,
You like?
the panel dress.
The panel dress. I call it the miracle dress. Lala's wearing it. Kate Winslet is wearing it. We got this one.
You're wearing it.
I'm
I've
wearing
worn
it
it here on the show.
The key is to this dress, keep the panels black on the outside. It basically whittles your middle, and she looks like $1 million. We got this from Marshall, so she gets the designer look for less.
Perfect.
And Wendy, I love this. The tights are black opaque, but they're Spanx. So you got that Spanx support on top.
Yes.
And the jacket, you know, jackets are great, but jackets are also great if you're having a day and you feel bloated and you just kind of want to cover something.
Yes.
Extra coverage. Love it.
And as long as the jacket's not too thick.
Oh, absolutely.
You look really terrific.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Julie. Okay, our last model is Vicky. She's originally from Washington, D.C., and she is a die-hard football
Look
fan.
at this.
Yes.
The party dress. I'm calling this the party dress of the season.
Yes.
We got it at Bloomingdale's. Now, the thing with sequins is every sequin dress is not made equal. You want to go for sequins with stretch because that way it's going to fit over your curves, flatter you, sexy girl. We got this cute clutch from Century 21. It's all about designer looks for less.
It is beautiful. I like the detail on the back, how the dress dips down in the back. And good shoes. You all look great. Let's all get together and do some Diva fan curvy girls.
Right, yeah.
Come on, Daisy. Come on, everybody. Let's Diva fan down.
Diva down.
I love this. What a great fashion show.
Thank
All right,
you.
for more information on these looks, log on to wendyshow.com. Up next, it's time for Ask Wendy. Welcome back, everybody. It's time for Ask Wendy. How you doing?
How you doing? Hi, Wendy. I'm Joyce.
Hi, Joyce.
And my husband is very healthy, and I'm not. He loves to eat healthy food, and I love junk food. He's always working out. He tricks me into walking around Manhattan in heels. I want to know, how do I get him to veg out and relax with me on the couch and watch some TV? Is it wrong of me to promote an unhealthy lifestyle?
Well, laying on the couch is not an unhealthy lifestyle. We all need that. You know what I mean? And is the couch appealing? Is it one couch we have to lay on top of one another, or do you have like an ottoman, a second? You know.
No, we have a nice big leather couch.
Perfect.
And it's got room for three.
And you have comforters over there and everything?
And pillows.
Okay, do you have maybe a sensible snack like nuts? That way you invite him to the couch and have him eat unbuttered popcorn with no salt. In the meantime, you run to the bathroom and get your snack on. And then come back. But no, there's nothing wrong with that. It's not an unhealthy lifestyle. It's a sometimes thing.
Okay.
Vegging on the couch.
We could do that.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay. How you doing?
How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Wendy? My name is Malik. My girlfriend, I'm a very private person, but my girlfriend has a habit of sharing all our personal, intimate information with her friends. So, you know, they know about our sex life whenever we have an argument.
Okay.
And I'm always shocked to find out, we being a function, I'm shocked to find out how much her girlfriends know about our intimate information.
Do you mind me asking how old you are?
38.
Is she at least 20 years younger than you? Playing these childish games?
Well, she's about 9 years younger.
Okay. But still, I jest when I say that. Are you with your girlfriend today?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Your girlfriend needs to grow up and learn that mature relationships are kept between the two parties involved.
Absolutely.
Girls discuss their business with their girls. Women discuss their business with themselves and their man.
And I don't tell any of my homeboys about anything we do.
No, because you're a man.
There you go.
Your girlfriend is a girl. But talk to her. Straight talk makes for straight understanding.
I'm just
okay,
trying not to
Malik?
hurt her feelings.
All right, no, straight talk makes for straight understanding. This is
Absolutely.
the 5-alarm fire that she's about to start. Everybody, up next, we're gonna share with you some hot topic comments when we do Wendy fan feedback. Keep it here. more Wendy fan feedback. I love this. Earlier in the show, I was telling you during Hot Topics that Britney Spears is definitely returning to X Factor for the next season. And here's what you Wendy watchers think. Harriet L says, keep Britney, she definitely deserves it. All you haters can take a step to the left. Now, Trina G writes, find a new judge. Britney doesn't know how to express herself. Demi is way younger and far more intelligent. And finally, Cinderella tweets, Simon should find a new judge. Britney Spears repeating, you're amazing, is driving me nuts. She needs a dictionary. I love it that you say it like you mean it. Thank you so much for all of your comments. Join in on the conversation every day, and be sure to follow me on Facebook and Twitter. We'll be right back. Keep it here. Yeah! Look. The audience, they're my co-hosts. I so appreciate you guys coming here today because, you know, we have the Sandy and the Nor'easter. You know, I want to thank Soledad O'Brien. Thank you so much for coming. I loved your smart talk. Daisy Llewellyn, I loved the clothes that you showed and the girls in the fashion show. And Deborah Norville, you know I've loved you for so long. Thank you for being part of Hot Talk. Terrence Jenkins, my little boy's all grown up. And Sara Contreras, you know I love my girl comedians. Thank you too. Of course, my studio audience again. I wanted to remind you that tomorrow's show is going to be another big one. We have the beautiful Padma Lakshmi from Top Chef, and we're gonna cook up something yummy for our tummies with one of the Chew stars, Carla Hall. I love you for watching today, and I'll see you next time on Wendy. Bye.